Alright, hello guys, welcome back. This is Simon here, and this is live coding React Native series that we do every Wednesday. This is episode number 3, and just to refresh your minds of what we did last week, we basically investigated on the Circle CI continuous integration tool, and we got it to work. So this week, let me actually change it. Hold on a minute. I've got really weird setup this week. I do apologize. My mic desk arm decided to stop working basically. So this wasn't what I expected, to be fair, and unfortunately we have to somehow survive without the arm. So today I've got my Yeti Blue mic on my desk, but anyway, so here is our app. I'm just going to go to GitHub and open it up in GitHub as well, just so we can all remember what it was all about. So there is our React Native PhotoApp. I have to put it down below each video. I don't think I actually included the URL to this app in GitHub, but I'm going to do it. So as you can see, we've got our Circle CI config YAML file in here, which we added last week, and actually I'm going to show you Circle CI website as well so you can see it. Okay, yes, so here we go. You can see the last build succeeded, and this is where we basically stopped last week. We managed to get it working and we run out of time, but you can see that it got published to Expo. It run all the tasks, all the agents, all the jobs if you like, and it finished with a success status. So that was a bit of a success for us as well. So right, this week we're going to actually start working on our repo. We are going to add a few useful things, like for example ESLint. So it's a plugin or the pluggable linting utility, as they explain it, for JavaScript and JSX. So basically, what it does, it goes through your files and it actually shows you if there is anything wrong within your project. So if you have your files open, a styled text component, for instance, and there will be, I don't know, maybe like extra white space, or you know, whatever the rules you set, it will just underline it in red, so you know that there is something wrong, right? Because it's quite easy to miss this kind of things. I do support myself with many different ways just to kind of keep myself organized and disciplined. So as you can see, I have those dots in there so I can see how many spaces and how many tabs I've got on each line and things like that. So this helps to keep your code tidy. But of course, I mean, especially if you work with some other developers on the same project, then obviously every single one of you will have a different style, right? So basically what you want is to have some sort of tool which enforces everybody to follow similar rules. And this is what we are actually going to add today. So you can go for this generic one right here, or you can go for a bit more specific ones like Airbnb use or some other ones. So actually, let me go through their documentation. Okay, so we are going to yarn install yarn add ESLint. So we are going to add ESLint to our project, and this is going to appear in our package.json file. With yarn is a bit quicker. You use npm, that is going to be a little bit slower. So I do recommend using yarn. Yarn manages to install the packages a bit quicker than npm. They're actually saying about npm that they want to get rid of node modules entirely. So you can use npm without having to use node modules, which is kind of crazy in a way. But anyway, okay, so we've got our linting in place now. Okay, so this is how we are going to set the file, or we can do global installation as well, and then we can init ESLint in our project. Okay, so this is probably a bit easier option. So the local usage, you can do like I just did. So I installed it, and then we can basically just navigate to npm module, to node modules, and initialize lint or ESLint or linting from our modules directly. Okay, so the first question the generator asks you is how would you like to configure ESLint? And you can either use a popular style guide, you can answer questions about your style, or you can inspect your JavaScript files. So I'm going to use a popular style guide, which we have right here. We can follow one of the three most popular style guides that are out there for ESLint. And the first one is Airbnb, of course, as they are their main sponsor. There is a standard one, or Google. So I'm going to use Airbnb because this is the one I'm the most familiar with. I'm going to answer yes. And I want my config file to be in JavaScript. So it asks you if you want to install all the required dependencies for that particular setup, and if you want to install them with npm. I'm going to say no, only because I do prefer to use yarn. So I'm going to let me add. Okay, so now we are just installing our new dependencies, and as you can see, .ESLint rc.js file got created right there. Yarn add. Could have gone for JSON option to have my lint rules in, but this is also fine. It doesn't really matter that much. Okay, so let's just see if I do yarn start. That still works. If expo still executes project correctly. Okay, so here is going to be our, hold on, let me just make this window a bit smaller. There we go. So we can basically see this side by side. Okay, so right now I'm just opening it in iOS Simulator to see if everything works. I'm not entirely sure what happened there and why can't I see developer tools, export developer tools, obviously. This is really bizarre. But anyway. So right now, this is what we've got. Right, this is our ESLint configuration file, and this is where I'm actually going to add some rules. So we basically have our standard basic Airbnb rules in place right now, but then we can also extend it. We can extend extended version of ESLint with our custom rules. So we already extend Airbnb, or ESLint already extends Airbnb rules, and then we can just add our own ones on top of it. So we can go with some different rules in here, blah blah, but let's just get back to it at some point. Okay, got it. All right, cool. So the app runs just fine. Everything seems to be sweet, which is great. This is basically what we wanted. Actually, do you know what? I think I'm going to change it. Going to change it to this. To JSON. Because I think it's a bit more readable. Stands, Airbnb. Alright, cool. There we go. Everything still works. So the first rule, which is not what I would recommend, but I do like to get rid of semicolons, right? So right now, okay, let's add some rules. Let's add some rules to ESLint. Whoops, it's very bad formatting right there. Okay. Ooh. Hold on a sec. Have I missed anything? Right, hold on a minute. ESLint, ESLint RC. Hold on a sec. I think I just messed something up right here. So yep. This music is really dark. It's meant to be a chill station. That's better. Okay, so we are installing our dependencies again. Just to be sure that we've got everything in place. Right, how are we doing? Still installing. Okay, so as you can see, we've got our ESLint config, Airbnb, we've got our plugin import, we've got our JSX, and ESLint plugin React. We also need ESLint plugin React Native, which hasn't been added for some reason. So I'm going to add ESLint, save it to dev. So then, within our configuration file, where we've got our I'm actually going to remove this file because we don't need it. Okay, this is what we need. So we extend Airbnb, we add the plugins to it, just so we have React and React Native. Then we add some parser options to enable ECMA features or ES features, for instance JSX. And then we can add some rules to it as well. Right, something like this. We can save it. And here we go. So okay, I'm going to explain one more thing to you. So I actually use Prettier. I think I will actually have to record a separate video for all the extensions that I use, because whenever I save, it just removes or formats the file for me. And this could be quite confusing as you don't really know what's happening, especially at this stage where I'm setting all the ESLint rules. And whenever I save, it actually formats everything, gets rid of the semicolons and things. So yeah, so this is the Prettier. Prettier is actually a tool. Prettier, so it's a standalone thing, but it also can be combined with linting rules. And what it does, it actually formats your code. So you don't have to do it manually. It just does it automatically. And it works with pretty much every single modern text editor, with Atom, Sublime, Visual Studio, VS Code, WebStorm, Vim even. So it actually works with pretty much everything, and it's used by the biggest companies out there. So I do recommend it. What it does, it basically makes your code look nicer, more readable. And as you can see, this is the prettified version. This is the normal version before prettifying it. And yeah, so this is that. So basically, whenever I save, it just makes my code a bit more pretty. So that's why it's called Prettier. But that's that. We've got our ESLint in place as well. So whenever somebody new jumps on our code and they do something crazy, they start adding weird things to our code. I actually don't think it actually works, you know, or I don't have the right rules in place. Let me actually quickly take a look what might be wrong. So we've got our ESLint config. Yes, that's correct. Not entirely sure what happened there. We can also say that it extends Airbnb, and it also extends plugin React Native all. So this shouldn't be allowed in here, basically, but it is for some reason. So I definitely did something wrong. If you know what it is, please do let me know, because that is going to make my life a bit easier. But right now I'm going to debug it myself. Okay, so let's get started here. Let's give me down in the room. So let me see if my ESLint. That ESLint should be set in package.json, shouldn't it? Something should point to it. I mean, well, Nope. Okay, so let me actually see if I add some rules here. I just copied too much, haven't I? Okay, so let me change it to single, quotes, single, and change it this one to double. That's going to error. No. That's really strange. What have I done wrong? I must be doing something wrong. Yeah, we've got all that. What I want is basically to run ESLint at the runtime. So basically ESLint watch, yeah, this is something I would probably like to use. Yeah, not necessarily. I mean, don't want to have an extra tool. I just want to use it within my project. So yeah, there is ESLint loader. I have a feeling that I might actually need to add it to Webpack. However, to be able to add it to Webpack, we would have to eject Expo to be able to actually edit Webpack config files. Let me see if I can set it with Expo directly somehow. Maybe there is a special config file for Expo which enables us to use it together, basically. Okay, this guy seems to know what he's talking about. Let's see what that does. Hold on a second. ES6 true browser for React Web. Nah. Node true. Yeah, not sure about that. Parser. Babel ESLint. That's surely not what I want. browser ES6. Babel ESLint. Okay, so do we have Babel ESLint? Babel ESLint. I think that's the one we are missing. So let's see. ESLint, ESLint config, ESLint plugin import, ESLint plugin React, ESLint plugin JSX, Babel ESLint. This is the one. Yarn, add, save, dev. Babel ESLint. This is the one we are missing, I guess. So then Babel can so then Babel can actually use it. Okay. We cannot find Babel ESLint parser. Why is that? I think this is more likely to be what we need. There we go. This is still not actually giving me what I need. This guy has loads of rules, but I'm actually going to use some of those and see. Oops, I actually had the entire object copied over. Okay, let's not use this one, let's not use that one. We don't want this. Okay, but this is still not, still doesn't work on the file. So let me, this is still wrong, isn't it? Still not kind of working on the file. I'm wondering, I shouldn't need to run anything because obviously lint works with the text editor, right? So I should be able to just open a file and be like, oh, there is something wrong, there is something wrong. Yeah. We don't need that plugin just yet. Trying to see what the actual problem is. And there we go. There we go. Now it is working. I think it was the plugin which wasn't picking it up. But okay, so let me actually, so let's review, because I just copied it over from somewhere, this config file. So let's just review what it does. Okay, so we've got our parser, which is Babel or Babel ESLint, however you like. We've got our parser options. So we've got ECMAScript version 6, which probably we should upgrade to 7 or even 8. Or even 9. So we can allow import export everywhere. That's set to false. We can, okay, there are ECMA features set JSX to true, which is basically our React native JSX set to true right there. We've got plugins, which is React, fine. And then we've got the rules. So I don't really know all of the rules from ESLint on top of my head, because there are like hundreds of them and they have like different values, so you can set them to different things. But by default you can kind of read the key and kind of guess what it does. So you can see that there is some import rule, no named as default, set to 0. I guess that's false. So you've got React JSX indent set to 2, and indent props, and stateless function, and file name extension, and no used state. So there are no used vars, blah blah blah. You've got quotes set to single. You've got JSX quotes set to 1. Not sure what that means. Maybe it can give us a bit of a. So I just saw a hint. ESLint. There you go. Doesn't give me the it turns, so 0 turns the rule off, so it's basically like false. Yeah. So the ones which you use from ESLint give you the hints, but the ones from React, they don't, because that's like a plugin. That's like a separate plugin, so there's no way to actually see that. But anyway, definition for rule JSX A11Y anchor is valid. I guess that's something from React. React sort component, multi-line self-closing component, require extension. React in JSX scope, prop types, prefer ES6 class, no known property, no set state, no multi-component, no direct mutation state, no did update set state. So these are kind of like, you know, general rules for React. And as you can see right here, it says style is missing in props validation. So now, what is props validation? So props validation is what we get from prop types. Okay, and prop types is, I think it became a part of React nowadays. I think they just inherited this kind of package, but you can still install it separately. I think, I don't know, maybe they were, I think they actually inherited, or maybe they stopped, maybe they just made it a separate thing, I don't know. Anyway, let's actually see. I mean, I'm not entirely, it's never used, etc, etc. So then you can do static prop types, and you can say style prop types. And now, because it's a style, so you can say it's a shape of whatever, right? But I think there is a special type for styles. Let's just see if that's true. So just checking now. And you can see that it actually has its own kind of type, which is style. Which is quite simple. There you go. So you can see that prop types actually works. And you can get it from React. React. Hold on, what does it say? So there is React wrap multilines. Wrap multilines. I don't think that works. Let's save that. Require extension. Not sure that is a thing anymore. JSX sort prop types. JSX sort props. Sort prop types. Sort props. Probably that's the one we should be using. JSX quotes is no longer a thing, I guess. It's not even. So all these rules are not even added. And they're not grouped. It's just a bit lame. But we can do it quickly because it's quite hard to see things. So now you can see there is all React stuff grouped. So what else? So JSX. Oops. I'm not sure where this one is. Ah, there you go. So it actually was there. Okay, cool. Yeah, there you go. So now we've got some rules in place. I would like to add some more. So for instance, I would probably add a rule to destructure, deconstruct. Destructure or deconstruct? Destructure. So this structure is ESLint rule. So you can set it to prefer destructuring, and you can set the object to true and the array to false. Okay, just going to add it at the end. That is weird. So I think there is a clash between Prettier and... Nah. I think there is some sort of clash between Prettier and our linter. As you can see, it just went absolutely crazy. Started adding it on different lines. Let me just see if that works. No. Okay. Let's see what is actually happening here. So we want to have the structuring in place, array true. That's interesting. Basically, what it should say, or what it should underline, is this guy here, and then you would have to destructure it like so. So then it could be used like this, right? So this would be the ideal way of using it. For some reason, it doesn't work. Not sure why. I'm sure this is all what we need, right? We can save this bug guy there. Let's just see if that is going to change anything. Nope, that is still not picking it up. Which is quite weird. Maybe we have to do it through either React or JSX, maybe. So let's see, JSX. The structuring is ESLint rule. So this is what happens sometimes, really. I mean, you know, like we're just playing with so many tools, with so many layers of things on top of each other here. And we're just kind of using a futuristic, let's say, JavaScript, which then compiles to JavaScript that we normally have to vanilla JS, then on the runtime we're trying to set some rules and detect them within our code base. We're using our text editors to spot whatever is wrong with our code based on certain rules, and those rules are defined in here and kind of aggregated by some plugins and then applied to our code, so our text code can tell us what's wrong. So I mean, sometimes those rules can be just wrong. I mean, you know, it's normal, isn't it? Nope. That just breaks everything. So we're done with that one. We don't. This is. I think this is kind of old. Ooh, it's just a few months back. So it's not that old. But anyways, Nah. Just can't. I think it might be. Whoa, there is a Mozilla page right there. There you go. So this is the one we need. I thought it would have to be coming from React, because obviously there you go. Right, so let's see if that works. So what we want, use distracting. So we want to have style, which comes from our props, and then we just do this, right? Oh, and then this guy again. It's probably because of this. Must be placed on a new line. I guess it's because the line is too long, and what it wants to do is this stuff right here, right? So it just wants to kind of break, but for some reason, as soon as I save, the Prettier does its own thing. So I think it's because there are just so many lines. No multi-component. That could be the one. Nope. New line. Is there something about new lines? Max. This is it. This is it, you see. So there is a rule which actually says, hey, you've got too many props per line. Which is fair enough. I mean, normally I would do it like this, but for some reason Prettier is just not picking it up properly. I think it's because I think it must be clashing with something else. So if you that's a bad thing as well. If you have too many rules and they clash with each other, then it's bad. You shouldn't be having that kind of things, you know. So if you I'm wondering if I can add Airbnb in there. Not sure if that changed anything, because the plugin Should be Airbnb as well, I guess. Or is it called something else? Can't even see it anymore. ESLint config Airbnb. ESLint config Airbnb. No, I think that's, we just need to import it, we just need to say it's Airbnb. It's a plugin, that's all. But that's that pretty much. I mean, I'm sorry, it's been really rough, but as I said, there are just so many layers of the plugins. There are just so many layers of rules, and I wouldn't recommend to go for so many. I would probably just limit it to something like this, you know, just so you can get it to work. I mean, as you can see with React, it gives you a bit more of things. Hold on a second. Isn't that just so right? So now we would have to add a rule with the structuring to actually notify you that this is missing its validation. Okay, so what you want is that you want to have your distracting assignment to work together with the prop types, and you want to know when the prop types are not used. So these guys are basically discussing yeah, blah blah blah. This is not what we need though. Not entirely sure what these guys are all about. Hold on. ESLint plugin React. ESLint plugin React. ESLint plugin React and ESLint plugin Airbnb. Because I don't believe you have to do it all manually here. I think you can just do it out of the box. I think something is wrong with this configuration still. Parser options. Source type module. What is this all about? Nope. Very odd. Because I would normally think that you can just get it either out of Airbnb or or React, you know, like then, so that all of this kind of things should be there by default, and you would just want to override it if needed. But it seems that I think something is wrong with my configuration. It doesn't really read the plugins. It doesn't really get the plugins for some reason. Interesting. Very interesting. I mean, there must be something wrong with my config here. So ESLint config Airbnb ESLint plugin. Yeah, that's fine. Parser, yeah. This is plugins React. Okay. So plugins React, and that extends ESLint recommended. Plugin React recommended. So let's get back here. So let's just change this to React by default. Okay. Okay, so that's cool. So that means, ooh, this is not really good, because we obviously use text, which is weird. And then we can extend it on top of everything. Right. Now we are talking. Okay, there you go. So this extended kind of set of rules set us to where we wanted to be. So now there you go. Now this is giving you the proper validation, and we just did it on the last minute as well. So prop types is declared, but it's never used. That's one thing. Then React prop types is been deprecated. So that's why we want to add prop types separately, and we want to import them to our project separately, because this has been deprecated. Just fair enough. So there you go. You can see that there are some rules or some warnings or errors underlined with red line, which is very bad. It just tells you that, hey, there is something really wrong with your code. Please fix me. So now we can actually do it like this. And oops. And now we have proper validation in place, right? And we don't have so many rules, because we don't need to. We don't need to have so many rules. As I said, you know, someone has already done it. We don't need to copy it over all the time. We don't need to include it all the time. And I don't work on ESLint configuration file like every day, so I kind of do forget, and those things keep changing as well. But as you can see, so right now, we don't have that many rules. We just said that we don't like to have semicolons at the end of the line. We do like to have single quotes, and you know, some other. I mean, we probably wouldn't even need as many. We would probably just need 1 or 2 or maybe 3. rules, or maybe more. I mean, it really depends on your preference, but this is the good setup to keep you going. I would probably like to have a rule that says, hey, you can't have multiple lines. You have to have a break between your blocks or between your class members. So that would be probably a thing I would do. I would probably have a rule that, you know, says you have to import your files alphabetically, and you have to have your properties set alphabetically within the objects as well. And those would be the rules that I would like to have, and that's it. And this is all you really need from linting. But the good thing is that whenever you actually start doing something, for example, style sheet, okay, and so you decided to have a style sheet, you decided to have a style, right, and then you decided to remove it afterwards, but you forgot to remove your style sheet from there, so it gives you that underline and it tells you, hey, it's been never used, get rid of it. You know, so it's a nice thing to have. ESLint helps you to actually keep the code standardized across your repo, right, across your code base. So we're going to add it. ESLint plus several plugins / rules added. So we just added this. We can basically, we could have a job on our CI which would check for ESLint rules or ESLint warnings or errors, for example. It depends how you set it, how you want to set it. But then this wouldn't allow the build to build because of the warnings or the errors. So you could have a hook which says, hey, if there are so many errors or so many warnings, don't run the build, because we want to have everything without the errors, you know, like we want to have everything standardized. We want to follow that kind of guideline which is set in the ESLint configuration file. But that is actually it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. If you did like this episode, please do leave a comment, please do like it, and definitely don't forget to subscribe to our channel, because I think I'm actually going to start adding more videos, supporting videos for this series. I'm definitely going to add a video about my extensions, because I've been asked by somebody in the comments, I think, and I got a few private messages asking me what kind of extensions do I use, and I've been using quite a few, as you can see. So I'm going to record a video to explain every single one, what it does, why do I use it, and why do I need it. But this is going to be a separate video because this is it for tonight. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next week.